strength and our Redeemer. And it is in His name, which is His authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect today's message. Aman, or tonight's message. Shalom, peace, peace, peace. How's everybody doing? Uh, Hopefully all is well. We give our honor and praise to the Most High. Yahweh Elohim. We give our praise and honor to Him for my wife, the Honorable Amma, who lives a life that is able to be honored. As always, you can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A-N-D, the letter N. Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. Much love and respect to everyone. To Lottie Dottie, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us as we get ready to go into this evening session. We'll be on maybe for about a half an hour or so, and we'll get ready to get ready for our SOC, meeting. It's becoming the SOC meeting on Thursday, so we'll make sure that we jump in, have some quick announcements, and then we'll have a little bit of fun. Keep us in prayer as we plan on being on the road. I'm not sure if when you see me tomorrow in the Rising, we'll already be on the road, or if we'll be leaving right after, but just keep us in prayer and keep us lifted up as we're trying to rest up and get everything together and make sure that we're ready to go. Much love to everybody. Appreciate love you all. Hopefully all is well with you all as we're getting ready for our Passover on April 11th over in Sedona and on Zoom. So prayerfully everybody's getting ready for that. Continue to remove the leaven this week as well. Don't forget we've been doing a fast every day until 2 p.m. New York time. And starting tomorrow, not tomorrow, hold on. No, excuse me. I'm about to say it wrong. Let me not even make that announcement. But we're going to get our stuff in and get our stuff together. Praise Yahweh, and we'll be ready to go in what Yahweh has for us. We're getting ready for the new year, which is actually starting on Saturday. Excuse me. So, but we'll be fasting through Sunday, and then once we get to Sunday in the evening at 8 p.m. New York time, we'll have like a combination. We'll have a word, and we'll have our prayer and worship service, and we will be thankful and grateful. On Saturday, we do have to remove the leaven, but we'll probably, on Saturday, just stay tuned. We'll have a special word since Saturday is our new year. So prayerfully, everybody will be able to participate and be ready at least for the Saturday Rising. We got a special word for you all I'm excited about, and we're thankful and grateful once again, and prayerfully believe and have a little something on the podcast for everybody to enjoy as we get ready for our new year. Yah's new year, of course, our new year that we make sure that we uphold. This year is March 29th. It'd be at 6 p.m. New York time. Nevertheless, we will uphold it, and we will have a quick remove the leaven message. So we'll have quite a bit going on as far as some word for you guys to get ready for our new year, where we've been getting ourselves ready, creating a safe place. And now that we've had to do some things and go through some stuff in our personal lives and everything that Yah's doing, but He is setting us up to make sure that where we are is safe, and where we are is something that's wholesome, and something that keeps us connected. So we thank you for being on this evening. Appreciate, love you all. We'll go ahead and say shalom to everybody real quick, and then we shall get started. Thank you to everybody for your patience with me and stuff throughout the day. It has been a longer day than I was hoping, but I did make sure for the most part I've been rested. I've been doing too much strenuous stuff, but we get ready to get on the road, so I won't delay this any longer. Thank you again. Don't forget, right after this, at the top of the hour, we're gonna have our quick community meeting / have some fun with some things. So hopefully you guys can join us on Zoom. Once again, I'm not gonna be able to put it out everywhere, so if you don't get it in certain places or whatever, or if I'm not able to send it via text, just let me know, and we'll make sure that you can get on the Zoom session tonight. Okay. Alrighty, but let's say shalom, everybody. Say our Bible pledge and jump right in. Thank you for those who are already sharing the live and everything. We appreciate, love you all. I respect you all. Thank you for being on. How are we doing? How you doing, Minister Stephen? Thank you for using your gift earlier today. How you doing, Donovan? How you doing, Sherry? Hola, ¿cómo está, mi hermana? Gracias por tu presencia. Siempre. How you doing, Beck? How you doing, Sister Michelle? How you doing, Sister Knight? Elder Select Tamara, Big Brother Thomas, Trayman, if I'm saying that correctly. Hopefully I am. See Jonathan Rayner, Sister Monica, Sister Mignon, Kelani, G Money, Minister Morel, Splash. Everybody, if I miss you, once again, charge to my head, not to excuse me, charge to my head, not to my heart. Appreciate, love you all. Thank you for being on. Sister Night, if I didn't say so already, thank you for the love. How you doing, Sister Joy? All right, we'll say our Bible pledge and we'll jump right in before we lose too much light. And I'm just a silhouette out this piece. How you doing, Sister Sylvia? You can just repeat after me if you like. How you doing, Jamal? All right. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I am. I have no problem with being so. This is my Bible. This is my sword. And this will I trust. For Yahshua is Lord. No sword of God shall ever be heard. For this is my Bible. And this is Yah's word. Hashem Yechavach. Amen. This is Yahweh Shem. His name is authority. Amen. How you doing, Selena? Everybody coming in. How you doing, Brother Rodney? All righty. So for today, we're going to talk about, really, we could look at it two different ways. We could look at this from process to promotion, or we could look at the longer title that Holy Spirit has for us, which is love the process and guarantee promotion. All right. Love the process and guarantee promotion. All right. So this is going to be obviously kingdom sense, not common sense. I'm not going to treat you like commoners because you're not. Also, too, this is going to be something we might call motivational, but it's something that we need to talk about. And I've talked about this somewhat before. Praise Yah. But we're going to make sure that we talk about this again. And once again, I'm thankful to everybody, to the moderators, Ministerial Stuff, SOC, Lottie Dottie, everybody. If you agree with us, disagree with us, first time, long time, one time, whatever the case might be, thank you for being on. Yam Yasalab to all those with born days in this month. And praying for safe travels for Brother Torino and Sister Renee, and everybody. Appreciate, love you all. How you doing, Sister Shima? Mad love and respect to each and every one of you. Appreciate you. All right. How you doing, YOLO? So today, once again, we're going to talk about process to promotion, or love the process, guarantee promotion. Right. So I want to talk about love the process because a lot of persons want the promotion or they want the end game, but we're not processing things correctly. Right. If you want to get to a higher standard in anything, learn how to love the process. Now, I didn't say like the process. That's why it's love. Because remember, love is an action. Like is not. Right? You can like an action that helps you. You can dislike an action that helps you. You can like an action that defeats you. And you can dislike an action that defeats you. If you don't believe so, talk to somebody who might deal with, trigger warning, but might deal with things such as certain things that they might deal with as far as they are addicted to, whether it be sugar, whether it be recreational things, etc. Right? How you doing, Greg? And somebody else just popped up. I missed. Well, welcome. Feel like somebody I haven't seen in a while, but welcome. How you doing? How you doing, Tanya? Right? That's right. Obedience. Right? So a lot of persons love the promotion or love the end game. What can I get at the end? Right? And nobody wants to go through the process. Remember, it's not like the process, it's love the process. See, promotion is guaranteed. When Yah says he has something for you, guaranteed. Right? And what he says is, I need you to start getting in love with the process and how one processes. How you doing, Sister Deborah? Right? I need you to fall in love with not just, hey, I fall in love with, so to speak, I fall in love, or I fall into love, or I feel giddy about something and therefore I do it, or I like doing things where there's less effort. Because usually also too, if we be honest, things that you do with less effort, it usually means you have less ownership, or it means that you have less accountability. And we want to just keep it a buck, right? Like a lot of times when we're talking about something takes me less effort, this, that, whatever, we're usually going to be talking about stuff that comes from less accountability. Less what? Accountability. Don't hold me accountable for nothing. Don't bring up this. Don't bring up that. Don't say I have to put in this. Don't talk about work ethic, all that stuff. And if you even look at a lot of your friends, a lot of your family, some of your children, when you have conversations about stuff like this, they'll get upset with how you got where you are. They're mad that they don't do that. They're sitting there like, how is it that I can't just get what you have? Let me just get. And you have to realize and recognize that a lot of persons don't know about work in process, or they don't care for it. They don't like it, so they don't love it. See, I don't just like process. I love process, right? Somebody says, and I'm not trying to say I'm all at this or whatever. I'm just keeping it a buck. I believe that I worked diligently to become somebody who is great at what he does. I should not be teaching or preaching the word, first of all, if I'm not great at what I do. And persons oftentimes shortchange themselves because they are not great, right? Or because they are not what they consider to be perfect. you shortchange yourself and you go, well, I'm not great enough. I'm not great at what I do. Don't do the things that you're not great at. See, really, I hope y'all are gonna follow me, and this is gonna sound like I'm reaching a bunch of places. Just stay with me for a second. Right? Many of you work 9 to 5s, and I know you are so-called good at your job, to buy at your job, right? You're decent at your job. You get your job done. But let's be honest, that's not what you called to do. But you put so much effort, you love the things that you're not called to be great at, right? Like let's take a little bit off of this from this point on. Right? How you doing, Sheila? Thanks for being on. Thanks y'all for the love. Right? Let's get this where y'all wants this to be, not where we want it to be, not where persons have told. Matter of fact, where y'all needs this to be, because he does not want, he does not lack, right? And we do not lack. I said, stop talking to you. Yeah, I'm just saying we've been trained as a society to become great at different things, or to give great effort towards things that we're not called to be great at, right? We sometimes wonder. I'm gonna switch things up, see if I can get y'all a little closer to the light. Give me a second. I don't know if you can still hear me, and I just almost fell down. But prayerfully, maybe y'all will see me a little better in just a few seconds, right? But as I'm moving, I'm still talking about the same thing, right? A lot of us have put great effort into things that we're not even called to be great in, right? You're not called to be great at the thing that it is that you're known for, and that is what upsets a lot of different things. And what we've been told is promotion is guaranteed, right? But promotion is not guaranteed when it comes to being who Yah created you to be. And so this becomes problematic, right? This has become problematic for many of us, because we have put a huge amount of effort into things that we're not called to be great into. Like, look at this. In your relationships, we'll put effort into a lot of arguing. Are you called to be somebody who's great at speaking down towards the persons in your relationships? Are you called to be great at being mean and angry and nasty? Are you called to be great to use ad hominem? Is that what you were called to be? You know, like called to play the dozens, called to fry somebody up, called to Joan on them. No, you're not called to be great at that, but you have a lot of years and effort. See, it's not just only, you thought it was just going to be the job, right? It's not just only the job. It's a lot of things that we put effort into, and we love. See, you need to comprehend, just because something gives you a bad result doesn't mean that you don't love it or act towards it. Right, and those things don't reflect the character of our source, of our Abba, of our Father. Yeah, exactly, Elder Select Tamara. You know, we have been called to be great, but great in what? Right? I'm talking about the call, the invitation. How you doing, Sister Monique? The call. Right? Yah doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the call. Well, you're qualified because you're his child. What did he call you to? What did he invite you to before the foundation of the world? That's why you have to work out your own salvation. Salvage yourself. Go back to who you were before the earth was even created. So we've never met that person. It's time to, though. See, the person you are right now, shaping in iniquity. That's why you make the decisions that you make now. That's why we're sinful in what we do now. Sin, missing the mark. We miss the mark in the stuff that we do now. Yeah, we do. We don't even know how to handle different things. I'm not trying to do, and we'll make decisions that are sinful because we're shaping in iniquity, and we're thinking because we're doing something better than most that we're doing better. Remember, we recall the whole thing as far as what an average actually is and how most people live before, most people are underneath the average. If you were to take most persons and say around the world, most families, right? Most families in the world, most. I didn't say yours, I didn't say this because sometimes you don't know how rich you really are. Most families in the world aren't making $1,000 a month. Most families in the world aren't making $500 a month. Most families in the world aren't making $100 a month. Right? But but at the same time, you recognize that as far as what is your goal and your desire, most of us listening here would not be content with $100 a month. And I'm not trying to do what they call prosperity preaching. I'm just trying to show you something. How you doing, Sahara? How you doing, Sister Judith? Right? Like most of us would not be okay with $100 a month, even if that would be. Now I don't know if that to be the average, but I'm just saying. Let's say that's the average, because we right. And if somebody gave you a choice, you could make 100,000 a year. A lot of you don't know that makes you rich, but because you don't know how to spend stuff, and you get into different societies, and you try to disconnect from things that are actually something that are there for you, not only to live more righteously and have more to be set aside, and it to be okay for you to put into other things besides just your own ambitions or trying to keep up with the Joneses. You leave where Yah would have you because you say, this is that. You have loved the process that doesn't love you. You've loved the process that doesn't love your wallet. Right, and it doesn't make you whole. I'm on, Sister Monica. Right? How you doing, Jake? Thanks for being on. You see, so how you doing, Bruder Charlie? So you got to realize and recognize real quick, a lot of persons, they want the promotion, but the promotion's only guaranteed through the process. And even for those that might say, well, what about nepotism? What about nepotism? These children don't have to go. Somebody had to start a process. Now, I know somebody says, well, the process might have been chattel slave owner. I'm not even going there, but okay, if you want to go through that, sure. But I'm talking about, see, watch this. I'm talking about my son. My son is going to be the recipient of nepotism, right? A system of things set up for him just because he's my family, right? Somebody in his family had to work to get him to where he is, and his grandfather worked to get where I was, and his great grandfather worked to get him to where he was. And he's going to be the benefit of that. He's also going to be curse free. You know, like curses that his parents had on them, curses that his father had on him, such as curses of being fearful or careful, curses as far as not speaking up, or curses of not making sure that he spoke the truth when he should, or curses of lying, or curses of not knowing what masculinity actually was. He's not going to deal with those things, because his father is going to set up a system that he benefits from, right? And his father loves the process. And see, my son is guaranteed promotion because his father loves the process, but also he's teaching his son to love the process. There's a lot of fathers who say, hey, son, I want you to go out there and find out the process for yourself. No, we're going to honor the process, and we're going to love it. We're going to act upon it. No matter what, we're going to put time in and effort in and greatness in, because you called to be something greater than just what it was. Somebody told me, get a bunch of jobs and do this and something, and you're just supposed to figure it out randomly, and then you get to a place where you get later on in life and you can't stand where you are. No, son, you're broken. The chains are broken off you. That's not for you, right? It doesn't mean that you're not going to have to work, son, because you have to work, right? You got to have faith, and you got to have works that match your faith, but you're going to learn to love, to work in, to have action in that process, right? I'm trying to teach my son to have more love for the process than the result, because persons who chase results don't get you nothing. When you don't work for something, see, watch this. When I was making $7.25 an hour, that was a lot to me at the time. Even though I knew it wasn't nothing, to me it was everything. You know why? And then I got a second job making $7.25 an hour. Wow. Now somebody says, what's that mean? But for me, see, I was that every penny was something I worked for. Before then, as a child, my father could break me off with $100 just because, right? Didn't even happen that often. Right? But my father could break me off $100 just because, and because I had no thought process as far as the work it took, it didn't mean nothing, right? But then you get to be a little older, and you start to become an adult, and you start seeing, my father, he woke up every day before the sun was up, right? My father worked 2.5 jobs whole life up until about 6 years ago. My father was making sure he was taking care of my mother while doing that and give her all the care that she needed. That's why he worked 2.5 jobs, so that my mother, who was passing away due to multiple sclerosis over years and losing the activity of her limbs, losing the ability to think, to have her memory, all these different things, he was working the process. So when I saw that, I realized that's what greatness looks like. And even if I didn't know what to do, I knew that I needed to have action. Right? Now you got to, VPV, vision, purpose, value. I see you. So now I got to start working the process. See, I learned how to love the process. So now we got to ask the question. All things work together. Now I got to ask the question. Well, what is the process? Because see, we could just leave it there. We could shout, we could say hallelujah, we could slap 17 people and tell them, whatever. But what is the process? See, what does that look like? See, and I'm going to make it a rhetorical question. I'm going to fill in some blanks, but this is something that you have to go into Yah for. This is not me giving the answers tonight to the test, but this is me telling you what's going to be on it and preparing you to think differently so that when you see those questions, you're thinking different when you should put B instead of A like you've been putting. See, when we talk about the process, first things first, what is the process? What is Yah's process? For some of you, you need to look at it like this. What is the thing that you would do for free, right? That if somebody said you could do this and you would never become anything, but you'll still do it because it's something that you do now and you wish you had more time to do. But then watch this. What is the challenge in it? Let's keep it a buck. SOC, let's keep it a buck. With love, let's keep it a buck. Those who are joining us tonight. See, the process that Yah has for you is going to be challenging. It's going to cause you to be what's called a living sacrifice. You thought that you would be a living sacrifice. See, those two words don't even go together for somebody that's not royalty, for somebody that's not kingdom. This doesn't even make sense to the average person or the below average person, or somebody might hear it and they might say hallelujah, but they're not ready to experience it, because persons who are great are willing to live through a process of experiencing a place of sacrifice. Matter of fact, not just experience a place of sacrifice, but experiencing being the sacrifice. Are you ready to be sacrificed for what Yah has called you to be? And don't just say yes. Take inventory. Take inventory. Are you ready that because you would simply come on alive and speak truth, that there's already persons ready to relegate you to obscurity for the rest of your life? It will become their responsibility. Are you ready? Are you ready that when you speak truth to power in your relationships, that things about your partner, about your spouse, about your child, about your parents are going to have to be challenged, and it might cause you to feel obscurity in your own place? You might feel like look, I know everybody wants to talk about, and these persons are great, the greatness of a Bob Marley, the greatness of a Malcolm X, the greatness of a Francis Cresswell Singh, the greatness of a Dr. Amos Wilson, right? I'm here to tell you though, the farther you get up that line, the more lonely it becomes. There's going to be times where you're going to have to do what the Bible says, which is called crucify your flesh. How you doing, Alila? Right? To crucify the flesh, meaning that every day I might have to look at something that I'm doing or who I am and have to figure out, how do I take what's there and get rid of it, deny it, kill it. Every day. That means that it will be lonely inside my own head sometimes, because I'll be getting rid of things today that when I get into my tomorrow, it's going to feel lonely because I live with this thing I got rid of. I'm turning 43 this year. So by the time let me do it like this, by the time I hit October 6th and we're at Feast of Tabernacles together, that means that there's a version of Kofi that exists now that will not exist, which means that a part of me that I've carried for 42 years, by the time I hit 43, I'm not going to be able to be with what I used to be. Not just what I used to be, but what I'm used to being. You hear what I'm saying? Right? There's a point in my life that I was used to being considered to be nothing, but now I wear my crown heavy, right? And I walk heavy. That's right. I've been pruned and things, and there's things that are there, but I wear my crown. But I used to be somebody with no confidence at all. I used to be somebody that stuttered over every word, right? I used to be somebody who was afraid to make eye contact with anybody because I didn't think I deserved respect. I used to be somebody that it was easy to disrespect, and that if I was disrespected, I wasn't supposed to say anything back. I used to be somebody who was a husband in title, but not a husband by the word of Yah. And so even though I know that I've changed for the better, I'm being honest, there's times where you can kind of be lonely. It's not even that I miss what I used to be, but I used to have more relationship. I used to have more friends. I used to have more friends out there that even though I wasn't in the streets, I had cats that was banging in them streets. And so the cats that was in the street with me or whatever, they was around. Now, every once in a while I look around and I have moments where I'm like, dang, I do miss so-and-so. Yeah, I mean, I know we was getting drunk or whatever, we were getting high, whatever, but we was smashed. But yo, man, it was fun. It was fun doing this. And yo, they was ride or die. I realized that they was gonna cause me to die eternally now, but they was ride or die. They was homies. I could be wrong as I don't know what, but they still had my back. Right? But now you start to get more constricted. And so even when I say this, I want you to include yourself in what I'm about to say. You're not called, this is gonna sound weird. I had to say it in the correct way, right? You're not called, so we know that we're called to love persons, right? I want you to catch the context. I hope you get this. Of course you're called to love the persons. Of course you're called to love the people, right? Hear what I'm saying though. As much as you're called to love the person and you're called to love the people, you need to learn how to love the process. Because there'll be times that loving the way that Yah loves means that you have to be a living sacrifice. Now somebody says, you just said that, right? Okay, carry your cross. How did Yehoshua carry his cross? When he was on the cross, let's make it to where it's kingdom sense, not common sense. When Yehoshua is on the cross, and he says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. He's not saying they're not aware. He's saying, Father, if they really understood, if they really valued, if they really knew you, they wouldn't do this to you or to your own son. What's the second thing he says on the cross? To the one who deserves what he's taken on, he says, today you'll be with me in paradise. What's the third saying on the cross? Mother, behold thy son, son, behold thy mother. You just ran away. But I still say I entrust you with something great, right? Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani tonight. Or the fourth saying, the fourth word is, my Elohim, why hast thou forsaken me? And if you read Psalm 22, you'll realize that while everybody thinks that he's going down, he's actually in a position that makes him what we would call victorious. Right? Fifth word, I thirst. Why is he thirsting? Because he's taking something that he doesn't want to partake in. He's taking of sin for somebody else because these persons don't want to go ahead and be accountable for it, but he will shed blood so that he can be accountable for what they cannot even be, or that they can't even in this moment recognize they're doing. Come on, Holy Spirit. The sixth word is it is finished. He's sitting up there bleeding out. Don't look like it's finished. What you mean? You give it a victory lap now? You dying? No. He's giving up the ghost. He already knows this was mandatory. The seventh word, Eloi, I'm sorry. Abba, into thy hands. Sorry, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. And then he gives up the ghost. Like, this is serious. See, Yehoshua at that moment, as much as he loves the people, of course, he's loving the process. It doesn't feel great to be crucified. Come on, somebody. That's a word right there. It doesn't feel great to be crucified. But if I must be crucified for the sins of others, then you get crucified. Like, what you in this calling for? What do you think you've been called to? See, this is why we got to be honest with folk. What do you think you've been called to? Righteousness or right? That's love. Yeah, exactly. What do you think you've been called to? You thought it was just about feeling okay. No, you got to learn how to love the process. Love the process so much that even when you don't feel like you can love the people, it's the process that will cause you to love the people, even if you don't want to. That's why we can say it like this instead of love the process. You might want to say it like this: love the law. Now, the process is us doing the law, but that being said, love the process. Right? That's why when he says, "Let this cup pass from me." When you look at it, he even said, let this cup pass from me. Then he says, I thirst. The cup was sin. He's about to drink of something he's never drank from. And he drank it at the Garden of Gethsemane. The place where the olives and the place where the wine, the grapes and stuff, the place where things were separated, the threshing floor, where something had to be separated, something had to go on, something had to be sacrificed. And he's saying, look, if there be any other way, I know this is what we're supposed to do. I know this is the process. I know this is what you put together. But man, I know the process is going to be tough. He said, I know the process the process requires, see, he can see, remember who he is. He can see the past, the present, and future. and he knows what's coming. Peter tried to tell him that he was crazy. That's why he said, get behind me to Satan. Peter was like, you ain't got to do all that. What you talking about? You the Messiah. Why are we going so that you lose your life? We're going to lose my life because that's what I was called to be, a living sacrifice. What is it that Yah has called you to that not only is something that you would do for free, but it's something that you would do in the midst of being a sacrifice? How much do you love the process? See, because the promotion is guaranteed, but it's only coming through this sacrifice. The promotion is guaranteed, but it's only coming through the process. And many persons can't process what it takes to get to promotion. Many people want to promote without ever processing a thing. Come on, Holy Spirit, that's a bar. I was trying to say it again. Many persons cannot process what it takes to get to the promotion, and many persons will never, and many persons want promotion without even processing. Or put it like this: many persons want to go ahead and process and have very little process to get promoted, right? And very few persons will ever promote process. See, here we got to promote process. There's a reason why you're supposed to act a certain way. Promote process. There's a reason why you're supposed to go through certain channels to do things before you do them. There's a process. And when you get outside of process, Yah's not promoting the things that are outside of process. Period. I know. It's tough. It's tough for me too. I've had to get there. That's why I tell person don't believe me. Live with me long enough, or be around me long enough, I guess. And you'll see there's a lot of stuff that I don't want to go through the process in. But I know that the only way Yah promotes me to having a head, having a crown on my head, running my race so that I might be able to get my reward. The only way I'm gonna get that process. Right? And Yah's process doesn't get to stop tomorrow. It doesn't get to stop when the service ends. It doesn't get to stop when, okay, I'm not tired anymore. No. Like he says, you are a living sacrifice. Your life is a process. We were talking about Solomon today. We got some items and everything. We're about to do our cross-country stuff and everything and meet everybody over in Sedona for Passover for the first holy day of this year, Solomon got his hands on a coconut, and he was able to open it up, and it was a process. It took a lot out of him to open it up. It's not easy, but he got, especially when you learn how to do it for the first time. But he got it open, and he came to me, Dad, look, and I stopped everything because I saw the coconut, and I saw a little bit of the husk still on there, and I saw he finally got it, and I had to stop because I realized he wasn't even trying to tell me about the promotion. Why did it mean so much that he had the coconut in his hand? It was about the process. He wasn't saying, Dad, look at the promotion. Dad, look at the end result. Dad, look at the coconut milk and the flesh inside. His first response was, Dad, look, I finally got it. He was saying, I've been processing this. I've been working on this for a while. Look at the result, Dad. Are you proud of me? Right? If we would think of things as little children, how you doing, Sister Deja? He said, look, Dad, look at this. It's open. He was saying, Dad, the process. Any of y'all ever had children and they make grilled cheese or something for the first time, and they come to you and they present it to you and they go, oh man, look, and it's not even all that, it's burnt and everything, but in their mind they cook something. right? And then they mess around one day and they come to you and they add some turkey to it, and they bring it before you and they say, look, you don't know nothing about this. And you could go ahead and break their little heart and be like, child, you ain't do nothing but put some turkey with some cheese and some bread. Did you even make sure you put some butter on it, whatever? But no, your child is coming. They're excited because they're learning through the process. You hear what I'm saying? The process. They want to say, look at it, look at this. I did something. Even if you know that it's done, Yah does that with us all the time. He wants us to find out things in the process. You grow through the process. You learn through the process. You honor the process. When you honor the process, the child wants to go further. Because process causes progress too. Right? And the promise is that if we process things that the process allows us to get to progress, then promotion is guaranteed. That's right. We have to appreciate the process. Right? My wife and I continue to go year by year by year in our marriage. You know what I appreciate more than just the years? The process. When I look at what I was and what I became, process. And when I look at what I was without her and what she made me to be, process. When I can look at her and say, that's my greatest work, process. When I see the life that we were able to come up with together, process. Right? That's the process is the progress that allows us to get to the promise. There is no promotion without process. And if we don't start promoting process, we're going to have a problem. If somebody keeps telling you to get somewhere and to shortchange, Yah doesn't shortchange. Matter of fact, let me help you with something. Yes, Yah's not in time, but he uses time as monuments, right? Or as landmarks even for us to find out where we are in eternity, right? Correct? So yeah, Yah is in eternity, but he's also created time so that we might have landmarks where we can tell where we are in the road to our eternal right. Okay? And so there's a process we go through so that Yah will see. See, Yah already wants you to be in heaven, but he's putting you through a process to see if you're worthy of the works that he has for you. See, you think that the stuff you're going through now is, hey man, if I do something today, will he help me tomorrow? Yah is trying to show you who you are so that when he takes off the confinement of sin and flesh and being tired and being sad and being sick, imagine what you'll get done. Imagine when you'll get done when you're not worried about if I could lose my life. When that possibility is no longer here. That's when you get promoted to. But if you won't even take care of something that only takes 5 seconds, why would Yah allow you to have eternity? What you mean, Pastor Kofi? In 5 seconds, somebody in here could give their life to Yah in a way that you never did. Can he trust you with 5 seconds? In 5 minutes, somebody could begin to start doing things and cut some things off in their life and delete some phone numbers out of your phone that don't even need to be there anymore. How you doing, Brother Anthony? Right? He's getting you ready for something. See, he's taking scales off your eyes and you're starting to see things. But before he takes the scales off, see, watch this. Somebody says, I want to see everything. I want to see everything. Well, can you find, and I'm not saying you need to have blind faith per se, but if you have a blindfold on, can you trust when I say take a step forward? Y'all remember 2022 when we were in Detroit? We did that game Blind Faith. We didn't get a chance to bring it back yesterday, but we're going to run it back. Maybe we'll run it back for Passover, right? We're going to run that back at some point. But we did that thing it was called Blind Faith. And we had the cups on the floor. And we had it set up where there would be one person with blindfolded, one person would turn the person around, right? One person would have to talk to the person and tell them what was going on. The other person would play play devil's advocate, if you will, and would make it a point to say something that was taking them away. And you had to figure out who the voice was that you should follow. And even though the other voice still might be saying stuff in your ear trying to get to you, you had to be determined to go through the process, even if you couldn't see the next step. Even if you couldn't see the next step, you had to be willing to go through the process. And a lot of persons don't want to follow process because of what they can't see or because they can't see what they want out of it. But Yah's will is not our will, right? His ways are not our ways, nor his thoughts are our thoughts. As high as the heavens are from the earth, and his ways from our ways. Amen. In motion, I see you. He said, be careful how you handle the process, stay committed. That's right. The process doesn't change. Thank you for saying it that way. When speed bumps arrive, when shortcomings happen, when hard times happen, when arguments happen, when frustration happens or whatever, when somebody gets out of pocket, are you remaining consistent and process? What did Yah tell you to do in your lane? And if all of a sudden you're going from lane to lane to lane to lane to lane, I'm just telling you straight up, it's not Yah's process. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna just keep keeping it a buck with you, right? It's not Yah. Yah has a process. He has told you this is your work. He don't even have a backup plan. I know persons don't like when I talk like that about backup plans, but it's real. I had to get rid of backup plans because when you don't have no backup plan, you realize it's this. And when you know that Yah said it, there is no backup plan because his will is perfect. There is no, well, if this doesn't work, then I'll give you this. And if this doesn't work, then nowhere in the Bible have you seen that. We're going through Barashat right now, Genesis, and we've been focusing heavy on Abraham for a little while, and before that Noah, and before that Enoch, right? And Methuselah, and Seth, and Adam, and all these persons, and nowhere in there, and Shem, and all these persons, nowhere in there did you see that when Yah said do something and somebody followed it, then when they followed it, then Yah said, okay, now I'll go ahead and do this. And somebody who will even try to pull it, because eventually we're going to have to hit the ram of the bush before you even go there in your mind, because I feel it in my spirit. Before you go there in your mind, that was Yah's will was never for Adam to sacrifice his son. He was trying to bring Abraham to a place and show him that the thing that Abraham was willing to do was not enough. There was a ram that was a greater sacrifice than his son, because how could his son be sacrificed when his blood is just as guilty as the one who was about to sacrifice him? There had to be something of another bloodline greater than him, while at the same time being able to be used, that came from a heavenly place. And by the way, it didn't show up miraculously. It was already there in the thicket caught. It said that they didn't even see it. They had to look to the side and realize it had been stuck whole time. That's right, pre-served, already served up, ready to go. Live this life ready to be a sacrifice. Come on, somebody. The ram lived his life, a whole life, prepared it just for that moment. We see it from the perspective of, oh, Abraham just showed up and Abraham, he was asked a question by his son. And we come up with this creative stuff, but Abraham didn't lie to his son. His son asked him a question. Dad, I see the rocks. Dad, I see the oil that we use, that we light on fire. Dad, I see the wood. I see the kindling. Dad, where's the sacrifice? Abraham's answer is, Yah will provide. Well, he would have said, Elohim will provide a sacrifice. So as far as Abraham was concerned, there was no sacrifice yet, but he was going to still go through. And Isaac was like, this is kind of wild. But he said, I'll still put the blindfold on and I'll trust my father, because my father trusts Yah, and I have not lived anything in my life to where my father trusting in Yah has gotten me anything other than promotion. Oh my gracious, I'm just trying to help you with something. See, like, we're gonna go through this in our Body Shot series anyway, so we'll get deeper into it. But I just want to help you that if you want promotion, if you're ready for promotion, if you're ready to come out of this, if you're ready to do something for your family, right? Go through the process. Don't run from it. I tell this all the time. I was in prison for stuff that I didn't even do. And when I say stuff I didn't even do, there was a situation, and like, basically somebody ain't like me. Somebody's tried to strip me of everything. They tried to strip me of my stuff. My family thought that I was some criminal. All of a sudden, church person stopped messing with me. Anything you can think of, and I literally mean that. Just about anything you can think of, I was charged with. And I'm not joking. Like, literally, there was a list. It was like a scroll. Like, you did this. Now, I knew from the jump. See, watch this. I'm telling you how the process works. I wish I had done more with it, because I was so angry that I actually had times where I kind of blacked out, or I was so red, everything literally turned red with rage, right? I already knew that I wasn't going to go to trial. But because of the things that have been levied against me, forgive me, I'm using the wrong saying, but the things I've been accused of, I was told by my lawyer that basically You're going to get out. But I'm going to be honest with you. You're going to have to go through something called right to a speedy trial. And had I known how the law worked, it would have been an actual right to a speedy trial. But basically, she was telling me, you're going to have to go through about 9 months of being in prison. And you're going to have to go through them basically over and over again trying to catch you on something. And when I went in, there were persons in need of a Bible study. Brothers who I still am tight with. And these brothers were doing their best with the Bible, but these brothers ain't know nothing about no word. They didn't care about that. But they were trying, and there was a really old cat. It was really nice of him. He was trying his hardest. But he was saying some stuff, and I knew clearly. But the first 3 days, I wasn't trying to hear that. I was mad. I was shaking my fist. I was throwing middle fingers up at the ceiling. I ain't lying. I had in my heart. I didn't even know I had a cellie. I didn't know I had a cellmate. And he comes around one day, and this cat was like killer, like, like real deal, killer. Like they put me in the wing where they put me in the block, whatever, but they put me in the section where basically I'm real, like cats that are serving, 19-year-olds serving 3 consecutive life sentences, cats in there, once you're 104, then you'll have your first opportunity for parole type stuff, right? Like that's the cat, like cats where cats is getting shanked and you got to join a gang and all this stuff. And I'm like, what am I in here for? I ain't do nothing. But then I get in there and I finally, you got this pulling on your heart, this calling, and you can't help it. And so even though it feels like I lost promotion, it was my my Joseph moment, where I've been sold into slavery by my own brethren. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I'm like, dang, this is Jack. This ate up. 9 months gestational period, I see, yeah. So, but something in me's pulling me. So on like the 4th day of officially being not in being in jail, but being in prison, I'm like, all right. And so I'm like, I hear you, Holy Spirit. I didn't want to go, but I show up to the Bible study. And then they start asking me questions, and I don't want to answer. I'm mad. They can tell. The guy who's basically the preacher in there, he's like, I can see in your heart. I can see you're mad and you're angry and this and that. Go ahead, talk. And I can't help. I start teaching. And it becomes very apparent that I know the word. And then I start teaching, and then 4 brothers show up, and then the next day 12 brothers show up, and we only got, when they allow us, you only got an hour out, period. So if anything, I want to go outside. No, these guys want to get together. They just want to go over word and pick your brain and do all this, and I'm mad. But every day I'm realizing that as I'm going through the same process I was going through when I was so-called free, that I'm seeing the freedom now start to hit others that I experienced. And I started realizing that no matter if I'm behind bars or I'm free, I'm always free in Yah, in Yahashua, always. Like, just because somebody put me in a place, just like Paul could go ahead and sing praises and the prison could fall down. Like I wasn't even in prison like that. I was in a place where it sucked. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat the word in, right? It sucked. Ain't no other, there's other choice words I would use, but I'm not allowed to use those words. But it was terrible. But I realized the longer I was doing it, that I was starting to find freedom, right? And then I didn't have to do the 9 months. The last couple of months, I was able to get on an ankle monitor. And I really couldn't do that until there were some groups when I thought everybody had left me behind. There were 7 pastors. I remember this. It's like it was like my protection. There were 7 pastors, from apostles to whatever, right? Even different, forms of Christianity. But all of them had love for me, came together, right? And literally surrounded me with love. Even brought in persons to buy me a couple suits and stuff because I had lost all my clothes. I had to start over for my ID. I had one night that I ended up, on the street. It was during the Occupy DC stuff. I had one night where I ended up on the street and I didn't really have clothes and I was freezing and I couldn't get anybody to help me out with a blanket or anything. And then I learned how to get up off the street and stuff like that. Other than that, there was even a bishop who was an elder, and she let me stay in a place and she gave me a room. And I remember going in the room and being upset all over because I can't leave the room unless there's a reason, unless somebody says I can go to a service or unless I can get a job. All I can do is stay in the room, ankle monitor, ankle bracelet, can't leave the house especially, right? I'm like, dang, my whole existence. And I missed out because after a couple weeks, Holy Spirit hit me and said, like, this woman's letting you stay in her house. She's on fixed income. You should do something to try and be of service. So I started looking for jobs. And as I started looking for jobs, I started getting into my work again. Found, minimum wage job. But while working the minimum wage job or finding the minimum wage job, my eyes started opening. I was like, wait a minute, she got a library in this bedroom. And I had books from some of the pastors that were there. And they were like, hey, read this and read this and read. And so I started reading stuff like The Art of Preaching. So when persons say, man, when did your preaching really like start to take off? I was pretty decent. I was pretty, I could say I was even to a certain degree eloquent. But when I really started learning sermon writing was when I couldn't do anything unless I was being monitored by the ankle. And when I was stuck in the room all day and I could only go into a job that I didn't even want, but I was trying to do it to serve somebody else. And when I was serving somebody else, it opened my eyes to that person had put me in a place to where there was unlimited knowledge as far as at least where I was at the time, I needed to grow in. And so I learned the art of preaching and I learned things from encyclopedias and I started getting back into history and I started getting all these different things on little, and I mean, for me, it's a big library for real. In my mind, it's huge. For real, it was probably like this many books, like a small bookcase. But what I needed at the time, it was vast. I don't even like reading. But I realized I was free. And so if I were to ever go back in there, the days and stuff that I was so angry that I actually missed time, I would go back and if I could talk to the old Kofi, be like, Kofi, get yourself together, man. There's a process here. Like promotion came out the process. A lot of persons don't know that. And then, I even ended up battling with homelessness and stuff like that. And even in battling with that and things of that nature, there were persons that when I finally came out of that, they would come to me later on and we'd be talking and stuff and we'd be giving, testimonies, back and forth. And all of a sudden I'd say, yeah, like during the time I was homeless, they'd be like, wait, you were homeless? And I'm like, yeah. And they say, man, I never saw that on you. Like I had persons tell me, I never saw that on you. And I thought back because at the time when you're going through it, right, especially when you start loving the process, I was still out there. I was giving out clothes for free. If I had to get on the bus and I didn't even have a place to go, I was going to the church that I was at the time, grabbing 4 or 5 trash bags at least, setting up a table in the hood of 1200 North Capitol Street, right there in Washington, D.C., right, Northwest, when Northwest gets ready to turn into something else, right there on North Capitol Street where you got Northwest and Northeast on either side, if you're familiar with the area, and I'd be there at 1200 Capitol Street, right there where they got rid of the housing, the projects over there, and right next to that was the other projects. I would even go inside of the big building and places that the churches weren't going, I was going and I was meeting needs and I was seeing this stuff. And persons thought that even though I wasn't dressing and all that stuff, they thought, hey, he must have something. He's always giving something. And I didn't think about it that way. I was just in Yah's will, not realizing that the process, me already being in a mindset to where persons didn't even see me as what I thought I was. I was afraid to admit to persons because I had admitted to persons before, can I use your phone? And they would get on me because I was homeless and say, no, I don't even want you to touch my phone. But you would listen to me preach before you found that I was homeless and thought that I had a word in me. So I didn't even want to introduce who I really was, thinking that who I was made me less of royalty. But the reality is that I was royalty no matter where I was. I was freer in places that, would reject me even to this day. And what I found is the same places that reject me now are the places that rejected me back then. And then what I found in the Bible is that the places that reject me are the ones that rejected the prophets. And what I found is the same ones who rejected the prophets are the one who rejected Yehoshua. And what I really found is that those who reject those who've been promoted to be like Yehoshua are the ones who reject the process. Oh, learn how to love the process. Learn how to love the process. Sometimes you're not going to love the people as much as you think, but the process is what will protect you so that even when you don't have it in you to love the people, when you love the process will love the people for you. Learn how to love the process, because there's going to be days that you don't love yourself. You don't like yourself. But if you love the process takes care of you. So when you love the process will take care of what you don't like about yourself. Learn how to love the process, because when you learn how to love Yahweh's process and stay in his law and stay committed to his word, no matter what goes on, no matter what happens, you will be protected from a lot of folly and a lot of foolishness. Learn how to love the process, because your character will stay on point. Even when you feel like you got to protect it, you don't have to protect what the process already takes care of. So process leads to promotion. Or in other words, love the process, guarantee promotion. And once again, promotion is guaranteed. See, this is something that this is something that's exclusive in this, and exclusive to this walk you're on. Everybody else will tell you, oh yeah, we think, or do this, or you'll feel better. Yahweh says, I guarantee. He says, try me, test me and see. Try me. If I tell you the process is this, and you do exactly what I say, and you don't get what I said, matter of fact, it's not even that you're going to get what I said. You're going to get exceeding abundantly, above all you could ever ask or think. So I'm asking you that when you think this process is going to do well for you, get ready for this process to exceed whatever well you think you're going to drink from, because you're going to drink from this well and the water is overflowing. And when you drink from this well, you'll never have to drink again. That's how powerful this well is. When I say you're going to do well, you're going to get something that's so powerful that when you taste it, why would you go to anything else? Watch this. Put process over promotion, and promotion will always be guaranteed. Process over promotion. Process over promotion. What am I saying? Process. Let process be what's in charge. If process is in charge, you put promotion under it, then it means that whenever you are acknowledging process, you have to acknowledge promotion. A lot of you put promotion over process. And so what happens is you're trying your best to get promotion, but you don't care about process on your way. Right? On the way up. Right? We realize that on your way up, make process the goal. Make sure every day I'm going through process. And what happens is every day you will be promoted, because process causes progress, right? So every day I'm in process, I progress a step up. And I'm going to tell you something, that step is mighty. All you need is a step. Somebody in here today is thinking it's going to have to take you 55 years. Some of you are being like, it's taking so long. Take a step. What's that old saying? I know it's not in the Bible written this way. What's that old saying though? You take one step towards him. He'll take two steps towards you. And one way I like to think about that is your one step, or your two steps are his one step. So when you take one step and he takes one step, it's not even the same. Process. Okay, I'm about to get in trouble. We're supposed to start our meeting at the top of the hour. We got like a few seconds. So love y'all. I'm going to get off here and start the Zoom meeting. If you don't have the link or you don't see it pop up or whatever, please feel free to let me know. You'll more than likely have to do it via text. But please feel free to let me know, and we'll have you on. But we're going to have a little fun tonight, like we said, especially, well, depending on how many of us are on. Prayerfully, we get a nice little amount of us. But I'll see you in a few seconds. So process over, or, process to promotion, or love the process, guarantee promotion. All right, love y'all. SOC. You all take care. Remember, as always, that you are loved, you are necessary, you're majestic, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in the system no longer have to be of it. Shalom. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Pray for us while we get on the road tomorrow. We'll do the same for you. Talk to you soon.